Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back to the second aspect of the product build. You can see I got a new dog. His name is Benji. He just moved out of the screen, but you saw him at the beginning. Uh, got a new webcam as well, so we're winning. But in the last video, we talked about building out the curriculum. Or no, in the first one, we talked about like pre-sale. So the first 2 weeks, like what the process actually was for starting to promote the product. In terms of this one, we're going to go over just building out the curriculum in general, uh, and the things associated with that, and then going over launch week and what I did. Now, all of it remains pretty much the same. That's the beauty of this system, right? And that's the beauty of the content ecosystem as a whole, is that when it comes time to promote, all you really do is you start to change the topics that you talk about in your newsletter. You start to mention it at the top and bottom and in the middle of your newsletter to promote it like 3 weeks before you launch a product, maybe a cohort that's recurring every single like 3 months, every 6 months. And then you just get on this schedule of, if you are writing consistent newsletters every week and you are plugging whatever promotion or offer you need to plug around then, and you're talking about the topics related to that thing, then you are going to make sales, and promotions become so much easier because once you promote it in the newsletter, that newsletter gets broken into a thread. Those get broken into tweets. You can plug under the tweets and it just works. And then you cross post to each platform and the promotions follow suit just based on what you're promoting for that week, right? So that's just like a given, because launch week, it was the same thing as pre-sale. The only difference was that I started promoting the course more instead of the newsletters under my tweets to kind of be like, hey, I'm starting to launch this. So in this video, let's talk about the curriculum and, more importantly, the system. So most of you that have taken this, you got access to the 2 Hour Writer. So you know that it is like, it's a niche system based off of the digital economics curriculum, right? For writing specifically, for the content ecosystem. And so what I like to do for my products is to kind of build out a system for myself to test. Now, I've already done that in digital economics and the whole creator command center and all of that stuff. So you know what the queue is, you know what the mind is. That's kind of my note-taking system that I learned from like SmartNotes and Zettelkasten, and it was something I was already doing, and it was something that I made my own. So I had a Notion page before digital economics where I was writing down every single idea in just one page, organizing it there, developing the ideas, and you know how this process goes. And then in terms of the other systems, it's like little things like this is what I would write down to kind of keep myself on track. And then in terms of actually writing the newsletter, this is what I mean by when I say create a system and solve your own problems, is depending on whatever you do, you can usually build something out in Notion that helps you do it better or more streamlined or unique to you. And then you can package that up and use it as either a bonus or even the main part of a course or product or cohort that you plan to launch. So you guys have seen this. You've seen the whole like newsletter template. So like you guys know what this looks like. And then like the productivity blocks, there's just, this is like, I took a piece out of the creator command center, put it here, and most of you know what this is, so I don't really have to go over it, but it helps with being able to create a curriculum around this and do it better. And so when it came time to actually write the curriculum, what I did, where did I put it? So I believe it was just inside. So here's the creator command center, and then it was inside the 2 Hour Writer, and then inside curriculum. And so I just had it all listed out here, right? So this came from your outline. The outline was more so to brainstorm so you can create a better, what would you call it? A better curriculum after brainstorming it, and like realize what your blind spots are with time and as you write it out. And so some of these came from digital economics, but as I said, this is kind of like a piece in the puzzle that I'm adding, and I'm giving people a discount for the cohort. I gave you guys, or the at least the first cohort of digital economics that is watching this and that got access to the 2 Hour Writer. But you guys know what a lot of this is. I just did it in a form that would fit in a course and was more niche and focused on writing because of the reasons we talked about throughout the entirety of the master's curriculum. So I wrote this out. This is all I really do every time I build out a curriculum is I'll create pages, and then in the pages I'll go into them, and before I start writing it out like you would a normal newsletter or just really any writing, you follow the same frameworks, like APAG or Pastor or whatever it may be. But what I do is I create like the outline in here, and then I'll just write down like notes, like what I would want to include, and then leave it at that. And then as I'm on my walks, as I'm going about my day, if ideas come into my mind, then I will add them to the specific like outline in the curriculum, the specific module per se. And then all you have to do with these, since Notion is so diverse and complex, and I can embed tweets, I can really put anything in here, even Loom videos that I film for each of these, which is what I do after. Then you just copy and paste it into whatever platform you plan on using. I use Kartra, you could use Kajabi, you could use what would you call it, Gumroad, Podia, Circle, really anything. It's up to you. I like Kartra just because I'm tied to it, because I've spent so much time with it. But what's the next thing? So then what I do from these, I write out the curriculum, and I make sure it goes over the system that I showed you. And what I do then is I create Loom videos like this. This is called Loom. It's just a screen recording software where I go over like how to actually use the system in Notion to implement what we've learned, right? And that's my favorite way of creating a course, is just you write it all out and you create videos that need to like actually show and implement real world examples. So that is most of like building out the curriculum. Now also in the curriculum, I have a spot for testimonials and bonuses. And for now, these are the only buyer's journey sequences that I have done. So we've talked about the buyer's journey sequences, but what I did is at the end of the course, I included a module in there that gives people an incentive for leaving a testimonial. So when they leave a testimonial, they get, they have to let me know, and then I send another Loom video going over my Instagram strategy. So if you don't know what to give as an incentive for a testimonial of anything, then create a Loom video just of something, like really anything related to what you're teaching that could help as a bonus. And then I just copy and pasted that module into an email, set it to send to buyers 21 days after they purchase, and then I'm leaving it at that for now. I'm not overcomplicating things. So that is really the main thing that we've talked about. And so now in terms of launch week, what happened is that I was getting stressed out, and I was putting off, or I decided like it wouldn't make sense to send an actual newsletter out that day. So I pushed the newsletter back to Sunday. And then all I did on the day of launch, specifically when the newsletter was supposed to go out, and I set this launch date for this reason, so that I could promote on the day where I would usually send a newsletter, right? And that scarcity would help with sales. So it's usually smart to have a launch on the day that you would promote the most. And for me, that's on the day of the newsletter, because then I, what would you call it? That's when I like repurpose everything for Instagram, and I send a lot of traffic to the newsletter. But I was getting stressed, didn't have the newsletter finished, so I just pushed it back to due on Sunday instead of Saturday. And so this is what I said in the email on Saturday. I said, my friends, today is the day you'd normally receive the co-letter after a week of building, polishing, recording, whatever, to make the course. It's almost done, the newsletter. With that said, 514 people joined during pre-sale at 40% off. The curriculum just went live. I'm going to leave it at 40% off until 9 p.m. And I'll send one last reminder email a few hours before. So if you struggle with this, pain point, then enroll in the 2-hour writer. And this did pretty well. I think it brought in a good amount of sales. But so while I have this open, this is like sales to date, right? At the time of launch. So within the 3 weeks of actually selling the course, it had around like 810 sales after the last day of promotion. And so this is like, I've never had this conversion rate before. This is an insane conversion rate. I was not expecting anywhere close to this. So, I mean, this just goes to show the power of this entire content ecosystem, doing what you enjoy, being authentic, having a solid marketing strategy for your product, making sure you run through everything in the bachelor's curriculum, and of course, having an audience or at least enough traffic via other people's audiences or paid promotions or whatever it may be to send to your actual landing page. So this was just in like 3 weeks, hit my first 100K month from selling this course. And I mean, that's it. And this is focused around content. I talk about, like, I use how much I make as social proof, but this course isn't about making money. And so that was my main reason of actually doing this, is to show that this, like, you can sell courses that solve personal or professional problems within that, like, present more opportunity and quality of life for people, rather than just like falling into the trap of, oh, I have to sell a make money online course, because I've done that before and I didn't make anywhere close to these sales. I know that like I have a big audience, but I had nowhere close to this conversion rate, and close to, it's gone down a tiny bit, but it was at 8.6 at one point. 5% conversion rate is like extremely good. 2.5% is good. 7%, that's insane. So I'm making $7 for every single time someone clicks on the landing page. That's absolutely insane to me, right? So goes to show the power. Now let's look at the actual week of launch. So we got to scroll down a bit, but let's see. Okay, so this is like the main post that I want to go over because it's the most important. But let's see throughout the week. So I was, again, continuing on with what we talked about in the last video, is that I wrote tweets about writing that would align with what's in the course, and I plug this under it, and it makes a lot of sales. So keep in mind, 7% conversion rate, I'm making $7 per click. So this alone made me, can't do math, like $1,200 maybe, I don't know, but something like that, right? So we already went over that, but I want to show you on the launch day what I did. So nothing special to this. It's not like I put in like like there's some crazy strategy behind this. There really isn't. It's like catch attention with numbers. This is also social proof. Just got access to the 2-hour writer curriculum. It's been on pre-sale for 40% off for the last 2 weeks. If you missed it, this is your chance. It will remain at 40% off until the end of the day. And then I did not include a link, because links in the first tweet throttle the engagement. You won't get as much engagement on it. So always have like something that leads them into the next tweet. And then with this, when I launched it, this is the only post. You can send more of your posts to your friends and your network to help boost, but this was the only post that I actually sent to people like Joey, Justin Scott. I sent to a few other people. I forget, but everyone chimed in as well. Like if you post something like this, oh, something smart I did do was I emailed the people that had, like, when they got access to the curriculum. So when I gave them access to the membership, I sent an email saying, hey, you just got access, go through it. But I also linked this tweet in the email, and I said, like, leave a comment on it to show that you're inside, something of that. So that boosted engagement on this as well. A lot of people quote tweeted. I said in the email that I would be retweeting people throughout the day, because I know that would get more exposure on it. That would give them a chance to be seen by a larger audience. And it was an incentive. I always talk about giving an incentive to do something. And so that was my way of giving an incentive, was asking people to comment, and I would be retweeting stuff throughout the day. And then after that initial tweet, I said, if you're interested in 2-hour content ecosystem, learning high impact digital writing. Not much thought went into this. I wasn't being like a mastermind marketer with this, but you can focus on like pain points and benefits and all that other stuff. And then I plugged the link, and then I decided to just film a video off the cusp and show people what's inside, do a little voiceover. And then I posted an update a few hours later when there was 4 hours left, because I said it was going to end at 9 p.m. Added the number so you can see how many sales within like that much time. It went from 514 to 653 on the last day, and up to 800 by the end of the day. So when I say that do not stop promoting, especially close to the last day, you need to promote the most on the last day, because that's when you're going to get the most buyers, because scarcity sells. People put things off, people procrastinate, and it just makes more sales. And so talked about, I don't know, I just made something up because I did a countdown, said 2 hours was left, launch day over. It was that simple. And yeah, a lot of comments, people helping out, people saying it's awesome, all of that fun stuff. So this was by far my most successful launch. And I would say that it wasn't that stressful of a launch. I just promoted it with my newsletters, broke that content down, cross promoted it to other platforms. Like I literally just screenshotted all of these, posted them on my Instagram story. I posted the same thing on LinkedIn, literally just copy pasted it. And I mean, yeah, that's it. After this, it's just like consistently adding it to my website, promoting it at the end of my newsletters, promoting it in my community, all of that other fun stuff. And that's really it. There's no need to overcomplicate it. Just set the deadline, start talking about it in your newsletters, break that content down, promote on the timeline, and promote, learn from failure. There may be things that I'm missing here, but either way, those are things that you learn through experience and actually launching a product, right? So I hope you enjoyed that little breakdown. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the Discord, but as of now, that's all I've got for you. I'd say it's pretty simple once you get the hang of actually building and launching a product. And who knows, you could just launch a product. If you don't like how it does, then take the product down, make it better, relaunch another product 3 months later. So it's really like, don't limit yourself with like false expectations, right? Like, oh, I'm supposed to make this much during a launch, and then it doesn't do well, and then you take it down, and then you never relaunch something ever in your life. You just have to continue launching stuff. Like I've launched something probably every 6 months for the 3 years that I've been doing this. And that is my biggest method of growth. That's how I've learned literally everything that's in this course, is by just doing it, right? It has to happen. I know I go on these tangents a lot about telling you to just launch something, and I freaking mean it. Just do it. I'll leave it at that.